damage.
For the hunters, the key to returning home safely at the end of the day is to maintain their distance. This is possible because of a powerful weapon system. It begins with the stone spearhead. Known as Paleo-Indian projectile points, these stone artifacts hold the keys to our understanding of how Paleo-Indians survived 10,000 BC.
The evidence for the presence of people, it really comes from the artifacts, from objects that we can tell by the way they're made that they're not natural, that nature could not have produced these objects.
Archaeologists Dr. Nicole Waguespack and Dr. Todd Suravel from the University of Wyoming lead a team of scientists at a Paleo-Indian dig site.
We are excavating a Paleo-Indian site. People lived here about 12,500 years ago on this very spot. We can't sit here and watch these people interact socially. We can't watch them have conversations. We can't watch them intermarry. We can't watch them date. All of these things that we're trying to learn, we have to learn a rather strange way. We have to do it from these remnants, this refuse that's left in the ground. You might think it seems like an impossible task to pull social organization out of the spatial distribution of broken rocks buried in the ground, but there are clues there that we can use. And every little bit of information that we get, even the most insignificant little artifact, gives us clues as to what happened in prehistory.
Over the past 10 years, Drs. Waguespack and Suravel have discovered over 70,000 Paleo-Indian artifacts.
70,000 artifacts is a lot. We also have to keep in mind that the process of making stone tools means that you make a lot of debris. So we find a lot of that debris and we consider it an artifact. It was humanly produced. You can think of it in terms of something like woodworking. Yeah, you end up making a big pile of shavings for that one particular item that you made.
What do you got, Chris?
The majority of human artifacts they find are simply broken pieces of rock.
Nice.
But occasionally, archaeologists will discover the cornerstone of Paleo-Indian weaponry, an intact projectile point. They are called Clovis projectile points, named after Clovis, New Mexico, where archaeologists first discovered these artifacts in 1932.
Paleo-Indian stone makers were called flint knappers, and they were extremely skilled craftsmen. Really, they created marvelous works of art.
The flint knapper begins with a large piece of raw material, a big rock, like this piece of obsidian. With either a hammerstone or piece of antler, he creates a thinner biface, a large flattened rock that has been flint knapped on both sides. The flint knapper strikes with exact precision so as not to shatter the rock.
From this biface, he will continue to chip away at either side, grinding the edges until the rock is very thin and flat on both sides. Ultimately, he will shape the disc into a point with razor-sharp edges.
Once the flint knapper has finished his spearhead, he hammers off 2 more flakes from the point. These are the defining features of a Clovis spearhead, flutes, or extremely thin channel flakes.
And when we're talking thin, we're talking 4 millimeters in thickness. And they're driving off of these points long, we call them channel flakes, flutes, which go up the face of the point. That's very skilled flint knapping.
The flutes allow the projectile point to be secured onto the end of a long stick. The spear, with a razor-sharp stone projectile point, is now ready for the hunt. But in order to maximize the amount of force the hunter can generate, he uses a specialized throwing device called an atlatl. An atlatl is about 1 foot long, has a handle on one end and a spur on the other. The spur fits into the spear. With an atlatl, a hunter can launch a spear the length of a football field at a speed of about 60 miles an hour. With the sophistication of the atlatl and the ability to create incredibly sharp stone spearheads, Paleo-Indians have successfully adapted to hunting mammoths as safely as possible.
The way I think it went down is the hunters probably synced their attack and launched their weapons together. Once the spears find their target, I would imagine that the humans would get out of the way and allow the mammoth to thrash around.